roster. Another guy leaving today, Rico Noel, and we knew this for a few days, but Rico has joined the Houston Astros organization. They officially purchased his contract after the game last night. We don't know if Rico is going to AA or AAA yet. They are making that determination before he flies out tomorrow, but Rico Noel no longer with the ball club. That is 11 players that have gone from the Barnstormers back to a major league organization this year. None of them have been released. They're all still there. So it's a great tribute to what is going on here in Lancaster. We are trying to ascertain whether or not having 11 guys go back to a major league organization in one season is an Atlantic League record. We believe that it is, but we're trying to double check before we claim officially that we have that record.
Well, and that says a lot about the players themselves, but about this organization, how they bring in these guys and they just blossom and get the attention of these major league affiliates, and now they move on to another step. And I touched on this last night, that this team was running on fumes basically towards the end on a very thin bench. And I can't say enough about the three guys that they brought in with Amaral, Clevenger, and Coronado. These guys have injected some enthusiasm and that breath of life to really push them forward now at this point.
The Barnstormers are 22-10 in their last 32 games since the attrition began. It defies imagination. It's somewhat counterintuitive, but the Barnstormers got hot when their big stars, the Galens and the Gindel a little bit later, but the Galens and the Hobsons left, and the Barnstormers got hot after that. It doesn't make any sense, but it's happened. It kind of galvanized this ball club. Maybe you're seeing some of their teammates go back to major league organizations, brought back that spark of hope that they all have coming here. They want to get back to affiliated baseball, as they will call it, and that is it's the goal of everybody coming here, that will happen for them. And when you see your teammates getting picked up, it re-energizes your play toward that goal.
Well, and you got to wonder, and you know Ross because you're around him more often, I wonder what he says to the players, as far as a motivational speech. Is it something that he is saying, or is it the players themselves just taking it on them, saying, all right, we're faced with, quite an adversity right here?
It's the combination of the two. Everybody knows Ross is a player's manager. He learned over the last 6 years from maybe the best player's manager there's ever been in Butch Hobson. And it's Ross's nature to care about the guys playing for him. He does, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with play-by-play baseball coming your way next here on BRC 11. Along with Eric May, Dave Collins back with you from Clipper Magazine Stadium. This is the second game out of a 7-game homestand for the Barnstormers. New Britain in for 3, and the Sugarland Skeeters will be coming in for 4 this weekend. Here you see the lineup tonight, put out by manager Stan Clyburn, and only minimal changes from last night. He gets John Griffin into the lineup this evening. He is in, and Jamar Walton is out with the left-hander Rommie Lewis on the hill tonight for the Barnstormers. And you get a look at the Barnstormers defensively, and right now in the infield there aren't many options. You see what you got. We don't have really any spare parts in the infield right now except for player coach Josh Bell, and you really don't want him out there on that knee that's less than 100% on an everyday basis. He's in the lineup tonight as the DH. Rommie Lewis coming off a great start against New Britain at New Britain Stadium last Thursday. Gave up a home run to Jovan Rosa in the first inning and then scattered 4 singles the rest of the way. He beat the Bees by a final score of 4-1. Lewis is having really an up and down season, but when he is on, when he is locked in, he's as good as there is still here in the Atlantic League.
Well, I think that's the Rommie Lewis that they need here tonight. With De La Rosa out of the lineup, Garner out of the lineup, and now you're down one player. Well, if there's ever a night for him to put out a solid performance, this would be the night. And this is the thing, at least here, Lancaster has done a nice job of keeping New Britain from really having the big innings. And they've scored runs here and there. If you can stay away from the big innings, that's a plus for Lewis and the Barnstormers tonight.
Rommie Lewis has gotten into somewhat of a comfort zone, too, working with Tyler Clark as his battery mate. We'll leave all obvious lines about exploration to the imagination. First pitch over for a called strike on James Skelton. It's 0-1. Next delivery, missing away, says Carlos Dano.
I never even picked up on that when I was filling out the lineup.
Lewis and Clark with a shortstop named Coronado. We've got it all covered. Magellan comes in next. A ball and a strike. Skelton on a half swing, fouls it away. We go to 1-2. Ever since that got set up during the All-Star break with Coronado coming in, I've had way too much fun with it. It's getting old. It's hackneyed. It's trite.
Well,
still fun.
It is still fun. You got to make it fun.
Inside, and Skelton gets hit. He's going to head to first base. We have double-barreled HBP. Rommie picked off 2 birds with 1 stone right there.
He did. He got the home plate umpire.
He not only hit James Skelton, but on the deflection, he got Carlos Dano, the home plate umpire. I don't know I've ever seen that. I've seen batters get hit, of course. I've seen umpires get hit, but on the same pitch. And Dano is down. Skelton just got grazed by it. And then Carlos Dano got it flushed, and he's hurt. Looked like it just came off the back leg of Skelton.
And what I say last night, you'll never know what you're going to see when you come to a baseball game. That's bizarre.
Ricocheting off Skelton, missed by Clark, and Dano gets it flushed, but it looks like he's okay after being tended to by both trainers. And here is the switch-hitting second baseman, Yusuke Kajimoto, with Skelton at first and nobody out. HBPs led to really bad things last night.
Yes, they did.
Led to a 2-out run for New Britain in the 8th inning, but opened the way to the 6th run, Lancaster 6th. Lewis will go to work on Kajimoto. We'll see if Skelton runs at any point here. 15 steals in 19 tries. Kajimoto shortens the bunt and takes a ball. It is 1-0.
Not the start you wanted to have if you're Rommie Lewis.
Well, he was ahead in the count and tried to move Skelton back off the plate, missed with the pitch. Kajimoto squares again, fouls it straight down.
Yeah, those last night pitchers, between the hit by pitches and the number of walks that were issued.
Yeah, a total of 12 in the ball game last night. We had a 3-hour, 16-minute game. It actually could have been longer. We had 335 pitches thrown last night. That is a lot in a 9-inning game. 1-1 inside to Kajimoto.
And the thing is, we flew through the first 4 innings. And we hit the fifth, and all of a sudden, it came to a screeching halt.
The top half of the fifth, ate up about a half an hour.
Yep.
Or more.
33 minutes, I was told.
2 balls, 1 strike. And on the hands of Kajimoto and fouled to the right side, 2-2. 53 pitches and 1 pitching change later, it was over. And Jarrett Leverett started that inning with a fuel tank maybe at 3/8 or so, and it was pegging red when that half inning ended, or when he came out. He was up over 110 pitches last night. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Kajimoto, and it's a foul ball back. This is the way it went in that 5th inning last night. 2 strike counts, and Leverett had a hard time getting outs. John Anderson came in. He went to 3-2 on the 1 batter he faced, but finally got the ground out to the shortstop from Jordan Hinshaw to close out that 3-run inning.
Deja vu all over again.
Kajimoto awaits the 2-2. Lewis will bring it, and that's lined into right field behind the runner. Skelton is going to stop at second as Trayvon Robinson comes up firing. 2 men on for Jovan Rosa. Part of this is the fact that Leverett and Lewis are being seen the 2nd time in a row by the same ball club, and the familiarity generally will favor the offense in those matchups. The same is true. The Barnstormers got their 2nd straight look at Kyle Simon last night. They'll get a 2nd straight look at Greg Nappo tonight. So it's equal on both sides as far as that's concerned.
Well, who takes advantage of it?
Here is Rosa, who homered in the 1st inning off Lewis 5 days ago, but that was with the bases empty. Infield set looking for 2, and ball 1 is high. Rommie on 10 pitches is yet to pick up the 1st out. Skelton at 2nd, Kajimoto the runner at 1st.
This guy just scares the heck out of me. What he can do with the bat.
One of the best against the Barnstormers this year. There's a sharp smash to 3rd. With it is Halton out at 2nd. The relay from Weber back to 1st. And a double play. 5-4-3. Nicely started by Sean Halton. That leaves Skelton at 3rd with 2 outs. And you know what? That ball is hit to the other side of Halton. That's a triple play. It was set up perfectly, but the ball was to Sean's glove side.
That thing was scorched. Boy, that is just what Rommie Lewis needed, and that was on Halton in the blink of an eye. But nice job by Halton to turn it.
Now here's Craig Maddox, who had himself a night last night. 3 doubles in the game, tying a record against the Barnstormers in a single ball game. He went to right field in the 4th off Leverett, to left center off Leverett in the 5th, and over the head of Halton in left field against Kevin Munson in the 9th inning. 2 outs, runner at 3rd. Maddox had struggled in earlier games at Clipper Magazine Stadium this year, but he had the big night last night. Right now trying to give his club the early lead. Lewis comes with the 0-1. Maddox looks at a 2nd strike. How big is that double play in this opening inning? That ball not hit as hard as one Tyler Clark hit at Southern Maryland in the 7th inning on Sunday. But the same idea. 0-2, snaps off the outside corner, and a ball to Maddox. Connor Bierfeld, the left fielder, due to bat next. Was trying to finish off the lefty. 1-2 on the way, got him, a swing and a miss. Maddox has gone on strikes to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. They leave a man. The double play is huge, and we'll go to the bottom half of the 1st. No score. have the Lancaster Barnstormers batting order tonight in day one post-Rico, which, again, another big hit, but it is why the Barnstormers are here. And as I've said, Ross Peoples, who has done a spectacular job running this ball club, getting the right people in here to fill the roster, and still having to deal with the attrition of 11 players signing and heading to major league organizations. But the hope is that once those guys get back out there, then you've got the building contacts of saying, hey, you just got released, go to Lancaster. Lancaster's awesome, man. They'll help you out. You'll grow there. And that's the reputation that this franchise has, and it sort of perpetuates. Ball one is inside to Bo Amaral, who was released out of AAA by the Reds a while back. He's fit in here very well. 2-0 from Greg Nappo. This left-hander out of the Miami Marlins organization, and I have to get this out of the way because sometimes I think these names are really getting out of control. Trying to market your product in minor league baseball, but at some point I think they get downright silly. And this year, Mr. Nappo has been a jumbo shrimp and a baby cake in the Marlins organization. I feel badly for the guy. And Amaral at his inside in ball three.
I can see the jumbo shrimp, especially if you're down in
Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, or over towards New Orleans. But baby cake?
That's New Orleans.
Hey.
Apparently, it is some form of delicacy there. And we must have a lineup change for the Barnstormers because Trayvon Robinson is out on deck. And not Lasting's Millage.
Maybe did they switch?
There's a ground ball left side off the glove of Michael Baca in the hole. They wouldn't have had Amaral anyway. Now, Amaral hit the grand slam last night, but that's more the approach you're generally going to see out of Bo. He's very good at slapping the ball the other way.
Yeah, now the question is, when did this change in the lineup? Well, now Garner's
on deck.
Now, Robinson started the inning in right field. Did he not?
Well, he may be in left, or Garner may be in left. I am very confused. But I photographed the lineup very early today. Ross had it posted at like 2 o'clock this afternoon. As a matter of fact, 1:43 according to the timestamp on my phone. I just double-checked. So he may have changed it and thought I knew. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. The count on Trayvon Robinson. Amaral, the base runner, 1 for 2 stealing. Nappo comes set. Robinson goes after it and hits a high fly ball to deep left center field. Back on this goes Kraus. He is there to take it.
Unfortunately, way too much green out there for Kraus.
Robinson got underneath it a little bit too, but he hit that ball about 390 feet. Cole Garner now will step in, and the idea was for Garner to sit tonight after being hit one too many times over the last few days. 5 times in 6 days. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody get hit that much. And if you are, generally, it's not flush 5 times in 6 days. Everyone has just been like in the middle of the back. And he is not right on top of the plate either. To Garner, popped up here, right side. John Griffin going back along the line over the shoulder. He makes a nice catch. 2 outs. And that'll bring on Holton.
That's a fine play. I mean, you're running back, looking over your shoulder. Oh, yeah, then you've got a concrete wall that you need to contend with.
And potentially other obstacles as well. And the ball went a little bit deeper than Griffin thought it was going to initially. He angled over and then went back. 2 outs. Amaral remains at first base, and the red-hot Sean Holton will step in, the league RBI leader. who has driven in 10 in the last 5 games to assume that lead. Nappo to the plate and a called strike on Holt. Sean drove in all 4 runs. The Barnstormers scored off of Nappo back on Thursday at a 2-run double, or an RBI double and a 3-run homer in that game. Amaral doesn't go, swinging a foul ball back, ringing off of Skelton. No balls and 2 strikes.
Halton, you can tell just by his body language, wishing he had that pitch back. He really liked that one.
He doubled to left in the 2nd inning, hit a 3-run homer to dead center in the 6th. In between, he flied out to shallow center. Nothing in 2 to the Barnstormer third baseman. Nappo ready to go. Inside on the fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Not a bad option here. As if you try to backdoor breaking pitch and you get it up, suddenly it's on the deck.
And we've seen that out of Halton.
Runner goes, but the throw was going to first base, and Amaral beats the tag of Kajimoto. And John Harrington is going to hear some unkind language in Japanese. Well, you've got to give Amaral a stolen base on that. Stan Clyburn is coming out. The bees cannot believe it. They have turned into Africanized bees, and did he get over the tag?
Wow.
It looked like he brought his foot up over the tag, maybe, and got it back down on the bag. Did Kajimoto touch him in the process?
Oh, man. He might, it looks as though
he might have gotten around that tag.
Well,
that's what Harrington saw.
Yes.
One and 2 on Halton, and Amaral safe at second on the steal.
Yeah, I don't know if we can take a look at, I mean, we saw different angles. The best one, it looks as though he might have gotten up on the right kneecap. Let's see.
Here's the slide again. The foot came up and over. Was the glove in between the legs, or did he get him on that knee?
Now, see, now that angle, it looks like he's safe. But I guess that's the one thing with Kajimoto. You can say whatever you want in your native language, and the ump will never know what you're saying.
High and inside of me. What are the chances?
Wow. What a heads-up play by Amaral.
That was a great slide, and replay evidence is inconclusive.
Yeah.
We'll say from here. Here's a 2-2. Bounced. Skelton will run it down. Amaral stays at second, and now they have to deal with a full count on Halton. Steve Clevenger's on deck, but a left-handed batter. So Nappo, I don't think, is going to cave in here. But he will run into a guy who was 4 for 4 last night.
You know, and I was just about to say, looking at it with Noel gone, now there's a significant drop-off in stolen bases. Lo and behold, Amaral gets credit for one.
Amaral has stolen as many as 40 in a year in single A. Halton awaits the 3-2. Nappo to the plate. Oh, he got him with a nasty off-speed pitch. Halton is gone on strikes. 1 hit and 1 left on that close play at second. We'll go to the second inning, and there is no score. No score as we go to the top of the second inning. It's apparently Josh Bell, who is not in the lineup tonight, and Millage in the number 8 slot. So that is the change because Lastings is out in left field. And we've been trying to ascertain that, so that would explain everything. Connor Bierfeld leads off and takes ball 1 low from Rommie Lewis.
Well, we've seen 1 inning of baseball, and we saw a player and an umpire get hit on the same pitch. We saw a pickoff play that turned into a stolen base. And that's only 1 inning. What next?
And trying to solve a lineup mystery. I think it's one of the clues to get out of the escape room. I've got to do that one of these days. Ball 2 is inside and low. 2 balls and a strike.
In the offseason, of course.
Yeah, my wife's coworker is, Stephanie, is very into the escape room thing. She was a math teacher before she became a librarian. 2 balls, 1 strike. The idea does intrigue me. Ball 3 is low, 3-1. So Garner's the DH. Robinson is in right, Millage is in left. High fly ball by Bierfeld. Charging over on it is Trayvon Robinson into foul territory, and he makes the catch.
That was a long run for Robinson.
It's good to see him be able to make that catch, and that is not easy. Speaking of obstacles.
Yes.
Now, Griffin has made a nice play in foul ground tonight. Now Robinson matches it. Our guys from the studio, Brian Cass, Chad Landers, had some fun with Trayvon today for a future episode of Stormers on Deck. He is one of the more engaging characters we've had here. Fouled over on the right side into the seats. 0-1 on Jordan Hinshaw.
Heads up, fans. So Millage will be batting 8th then.
Millage is in the 8th spot.
Okay.
Bell is out. Fouled away. 2 strikes to Hinshaw. Lewis in trouble in the first inning. A double play helped him to escape.
Woo!
That came off in a hurry.
Coming right into your living room.
0-2. Smash toward the middle. Weber to the backhand. He's very good to his right, and he cuts down Hinshaw. 2 outs in the inning. I've watched Garrett Weber play second base on a semi-regular basis this year when we haven't had Rico there or Jeff Coburnis, and he's decent to his left. He is very, very good to the backhanded side, as was Rico. Well, that seems to be his strong side to make plays. 2 outs. Here is John Griffin, the first baseman. Big man, 6'6" is Griffin.
You almost think it would be the opposite.
You would think so. Fastball for a strike. It is 0-1. It's tougher to make plays to the backhand.
Yeah.
But watching Garrett all year, he's very good at it. Oh, 2. By the way, Weber was the other guest for Chad and Brian today. Well, that'll be coming up sometime later in the month of August. Fouled off. Lewis right now on the attack. He's not toying around.
No.
And I think he knows Rommie's going to turn 35 in a month. He has been around this game a very long time, and he knows the situation his ball club is in. Joe Gardner hasn't been pitching this year. So, again, the bullpen is going to be relied on very heavily tomorrow night. Ball 1 is high to Griffin, 1-2. And Rommie knows his team needs innings out of him tonight. And he's pitching that way.
Well, and the key is, 1, get ahead in the count. 2, find that 2-strike pitch.
And you can pitch to contact, and Rommie is doing just that. Now down and away, 2-2, so he's making a liar out of me, at least temporarily. They're good at that, by the way. I think they plan it. You know, Dave's talking about how I'm getting ahead of hitters and pounding the zone. So right now, I'm going to miss with a couple pitches. Ooh. Or 3. Full count. Coming up to Griffin, Michael Krause, the center fielder on deck. He's definitely made a liar out of me. Payoff pitch is due to Griffin. Lewis ready to go. The line, the offering, foul to the top of the screen. That's another one of those lengthy at-bats with the 2-strike foul balls. It started to go by quickly anyhow. Here again is the payoff, and that's ball 4. Griffin picks up the base on balls. Michael Krause will step in. 264 hitter is Krause. Again, Michael hasn't done a whole lot against the Barnstormers this year, but he certainly can.
Well, Lewis, you can see he is not happy with that last call.
I don't know if it was the last one or the 2-2 pitch.
Or both.
Or, you know, certainly it's a case of one or the other. One was maybe marginally low and the other one's marginally high, but you've got to, I think if you're the pitcher, you're thinking, I've got to get one or the other.
Yeah.
1 strike to Krause. Lewis is down and away. Ball 1, strike 1. Teams do get to rate the umpires at the end of the year. There are umpires in this league, and not going to be naming names right now. This ball, that's strike 2 on Michael Krause. But my point is that there are umpires that work this league that have the respect of the players. There really are. Some of these guys are exceptional, and some run into some issues. Ground ball slowly hit, tough play. Lewis will get there, and he can't make the play. That's got to be a base hit for Krause, and Michael Baca will step in.
Yeah, that was going to be a tough play regardless, because the fact that Krause runs so well, even if he fields it cleanly, again, his momentum is taking him toward the third base line. It's going to take a strong, perfect throw. I don't know if he would have got him. Yeah, it's got to be an infield hit.
And that's the ruling. Baca, the shortstop, will step in. 2-0-2 with a home run for Michael Baca. And a left-hander has to spin to make that throw.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose from either side you have to, but left-hander more so. Outside to Baca. So just when I thought this inning might be a quick one for Rommie Lewis, we're talking about him saving the bullpen because of Gardner making his season debut tomorrow. This inning suddenly has gotten dragged out. To Baca, ball 2 is inside and low. And we may see Scott Patterson make a visit before much longer. I would have to think so if Baca ends up walking here. 2 balls and no strikes.
Especially when you get the first 2 guys out in the inning.
Two-0 offering. That is nailed out to right field. Back goes Trayvon. Leaping grab to end the inning. Taking a base hit and at least 1 run batted in away from Baca. 2 nice plays by Trayvon here in the second. 2 men left by New Britain. Bottom of the second coming up in a scoreless ball game. Nice night at the ballpark, a little on the warm side, but it is the 1st of August. Barnstormers had a fantastic month of July. For the month, they ended up going 17-9. Trying to start off August on a good note. Steve Clevenger leads off against Greg Nappo here in the second. Clevenger 4 singles in last night's game. First pitch missing from Nappo. Ball 1-0. Popped up, foul ground. Charging back is Rosa. He'll have to give up on this one. 1 ball, 1 strike to Clevenger with Garrett Weber and Nate Coronado to follow.
You know, the night like Clevenger had last night, he bumped his batting average, I think, what, 60 points? That's nice to see.
75, in fact.
Okay.
211 to 286. Driven fouled on the left side up toward the hill. Clevenger batting at 1-2. We've already seen what Steve is able to do with the glove. Very good at it, and all his hits have been singles. 2-2 now from Nappo.
Yeah, he got tested in a big way in the field in this first game.
He handled some wicked line drives. 2-2, breaking ball. That's hit down the line and just foul past Griffin.
You see the reaction of the guys in the bullpen. They thought it was fair.
It hugged the line. Two balls, 2 strikes on Clevenger. That could have been his first extra base hit. Nappo comes back, and that's lined and just past Baca. Leadoff base hit for Steve Clevenger, his 5th hit in a row in the current series. 2nd inning in a row. The Barnstormers have their leadoff man aboard. Garrett Weber will come to the plate. Weber has been a machine against New Britain this year. He's hit .389 with 13 runs batted in the season series.
Not a hard hit ball by Clevenger, but again, just great bat control.
Yeah, he sprays the ball around remarkably well.
Yes.
Runner leads off first, and Weber it's high. Ball 1, no strikes. Garrett had the game-tying single in the 6th inning last night. He also walked twice in the game. Hit into a force out the first time up. To the outer edge. And Weber bats 1-1. Nate Coronado, the shortstop. Well, he's going to bat 8th. Millich is in the 7 slot.
Oh, jeez.
So there's another change. Guess your lineup.
Guess that's why I should do it in pencil.
Where's the whiteout when I need it?
Yeah.
2-1. Weber with a line drive. Diving catch by Rosa. Oh, put a star by that one in the scorebook. We've seen some D in this ball game, haven't we, Eric?
Holy smokes. Especially at the corner. Look at this.
The big man, Jovan Rosa, coming up with a gem here in the 2nd inning. Lancaster's got men at 1st and 2nd, nobody out. If that ball gets away from the big guy. One out with a man on. Millich batting and taking a strike. .280 with a home run for Millich on the year. Coronado in the on-deck circle. It's yanked foul, and Nappo is ahead 0-2.
Yeah, I saw his first home run in, what, 240 at-bats?
And last week at New Britain, a week ago today in the daytime game, in the 9th inning. Bounced foul off his foot, it looked like. Still 0-2. Like, who knows what headaches Jovan Rosa just saved for Greg Nappo. That was a splendid catch. We've seen Robinson make a couple of nice plays in right. Griffin on the pop-up. Halton handling the smash by Rosa. Well defended so far tonight, and that's part of the reason we're scoreless. Fastball is in. Milich has a lot of room down the right field line here. That could work.
Yeah, we've seen him go to right field numerous times.
Not on that pitch.
No.
If you can hit that ball down the right field line, you are a magician with the bat. Lasting's up there now, 2-2. Nappo comes back, ground ball foul down the third base side. Barnstormer's getting close to the stripes.
Well, he likes turning on those pitches.
Well, the change for the Barnstormers simply that Garner's the DH instead of Bell. But the lineup was scrambled all over the place. Bell was hitting 8th. Garner is 3rd. Robinson moves up to 2. Milich to 7. Coronado to 8. 2-2 is in the dirt. The count goes to full on Lasting's Milich. And I think we're on that magical 3-hour plus pace again, Aaron.
Well, you're conceding already in the second inning.
Well, I'm saying pace.
Oh.
Not saying we're definitely going to get there. 3-2 is ball 4 inside. Clevenger had taken off. Nappo gives up his first walk, and Nate Coronado will step in. 339 hitter is Coronado with 1 home run, 7 overall extra base hits, and he had the go-ahead base hit last night. Get a look at Clevenger up at second base.
Yeah, offensively, I think he has probably surpassed maybe what the Barnstormers expected, but I think defensively as well, he's done all right.
Yeah, he's been pretty solid. He had one subpar game at Southern Maryland defensively. Couldn't get his throws on line. First pitch strike here from Nappo. It is 0-1. Coronado was signed to be a 4th infielder, but since his arrival, Vladimir Frias has gone to the Diamondbacks and Rico Noel to the Astros. Nate's become a fixture, and he is having a blast.
Well, and you mentioned that before we went on the air, and you know what? That attitude and stuff will rub off on the other players.
1 ball, 1 strike. Plus, he's got just that perfect demeanor where he's going to sit and listen to the veterans. He's a youngster as far as this game is concerned, especially at the professional level. So he's taking it all in. 2-1 to him here. And the guys certainly have to respect what he's done. But if you come in here at 25 with a very limited amount of pro experience and you think way too much of yourself, you're going to learn in a hurry. You're going to be humbled quickly.
Yes.
And sometimes that can come from your own teammates. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Coronado. There have been stories in past years here about things that the veterans have done to younger, less experienced players. Now, that hasn't been the case with Nate. He's come in really with a great attitude here, because he knows how much he can learn from the Anderson De La Rosas and the Lastings Milliges and the Trayvon Robinsons and go on down the list. Here's a 2-2 to him. Off the inside corner, he's forced a full count.
Well, and a chance to really get on the team's good side if he can pick up a base hit, knock in a run here.
He checks down to Ross Peoples to see if the runners are going, and they may very well. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Coronado. The runners take off. There's a ground ball toward the hole at shortstop. Baca goes for the lead man at third and gets him. It's a pretty good play by Mike Baca.
Yes, it is.
Coronado safe on the fielder's choice. Clevenger was on the run and still forced 6-5. I don't think there would have been a play at either second or first.
And you know what? If you had to pick a side, it's probably a good thing it went to his right. Because if it would have gone to his left, that would have been a double play, innings over.
Now it's up to the switch batting Tyler Clark with 2 outs and 2 on. Nappo to the plate. Clark with a ball nicked foul. No balls and a strike. Tyler looking for success right-handed. He's 1 for 22, but there was an at-bat at Southern Maryland. You can't hit a ball any harder than he did, and it resulted in a double play. 5-4-3. You think the one Rosa hit to Halton was hit hard in this first inning tonight? Nothing like the one Clark hit to Patrick Palmeiro the other day. Inside and low, gobbled up by Skelton.
Well, he's had to come up with a couple of stops here tonight. Well, he plays that position so well defensively.
If you've been watching this league for the past few years and you're not a fan of James Skelton in some way, shape, or form, I don't know what you're watching.
And you look at his build and you're not thinking he's not that prototypical catcher.
Fastball is up. Clark has the count his way. 2 balls and a strike. Tyler has done such a fine job behind the plate. Everybody is raving about it.
Well, he's been successful. Okay, he doesn't have the numbers offensively, but the Barnstormers are 15-11 in the games that he starts. So it's more than just what he does offensively. It's what he does working with the pitchers as well.
Here's a 2-1 to him. Ball 3 missing outside. Left-handed batting Amaral waits on deck. Tyler Clark can be selective here at 3-1. 2 good defensive plays have kept the Barnstormers from building a significant inning off Nappo. 3-1 is ball 4. Amaral gets the bat with the bases loaded again.
Uh-oh.
We know what happened last night. A little bit of a different situation, though, here. He's facing a lefty. But Amaral is a guy, he's already 3 for 3 with runners in scoring position.
I like those numbers.
We're going to have a visit from Nappo's fellow lefty, Sean Gilblair, who is not only the pitching coach, but also the closer for the New Britain Bees. Their DH is their hitting coach, their closer is their pitching coach. So there are times that Stan Clyburn is all by himself on the coaching staff to some extent.
Well, let's hope this is the only time we see him as in walks to the mound with his sweatshirt on. But credit Lancaster in this inning. They have really made Nappo work. He has thrown a lot of pitches.
I have it as 29 here in the bottom of the second. Like I said, 3-hour plus pace. Here we are. Not so much the first inning, definitely the second. Here's Amaral batting with the bases loaded, 2 outs. He reached on a single to left, starting off the ball game. The Bees are in their Hardware City jerseys tonight, the yellow. Bo takes a ball outside, 1-0. Trayvon Robinson is the on-deck batter, and if he steps in this inning, he will do so with the Barnstormers in the lead. Amaral batting 1-0, and he gets ball 2 outside and low, which coincidentally was the count on which he hit the grand slam last night. But again, it was against a right-hander. Millage at third, Coronado at second. Clark is the runner at first. Here's the 2-0. Bo goes after it and hits a pop-up. Foul territory. Skelton has a play and makes the catch. An oddly hit pop-up by a left-hander. Amaral fouls out with the bases loaded. There will be no replay of last night, at least not yet. The Barnstormers leave 3 here in the second inning. We'll go to the third, no score. You get a look at hitting coach Josh Bell, and tomorrow night, Eric, we've got the finale of this series. The Barnstormers and the New Britain Bees, Game 3 coming up once again at 6:30, and then we'll just be on the YouTube channel all weekend with the Sugarland Skeeters in for 4 beginning on Thursday as USA field hockey comes up on Blue Ridge Cable 11.
The field hockey is going to dominate here over the next week to 10 days.
James Skelton looking at a pitch low. Ball 1, no strikes. He was hit by a Rommie Lewis offering back in the first inning.
Yeah, that Spooky Nut Complex has really turned into obviously the headquarters as far as field hockey is concerned. And boy, what a complex, and it is being utilized to its maximum.
And what a great boon to the local economy, too.
Yep.
When you have a complex like that. 2-0, Skelton shows bunt and takes a strike, 2-1. I know people in Virginia who will talk about spending the weekend up at Spooky Nook.
Tournaments all over the place. Not just outside, but inside. I mean, that complex is second to none.
Strike 2 across the knees. 2-2.
Well, we've seen both pitchers work out of jams. Now they'll get to face the lineup the second time through.
Each side's had 4 base runners the first 2 innings without anybody scoring, and now a full count on Skelton. There's been a lot of pitches thrown both ways so far. Payoff, and that ball is screened down the right field line into the corner. Robinson plays it beautifully on the carom off the wall and holds Skelton to a long single.
Played it perfectly, and a strong throw to second base. Now that's the disadvantage to that short porch in right field.
It's a double or a triple in other ballparks in this league, and Skelton has to hold on with the single. You hit that same ball in Sugarland, you can run all day. It's nearly 50 feet deeper into the right field corner.
Yeah, that's at least a double, especially for somebody like Skelton who runs well.
Skelton's a triple.
Yep.
Down there, unless the right fielder gets on it awfully quickly. Kajimoto shows bunt and takes a strike. Yusuke with a base hit back in the first inning. Clubs have not had difficulty getting the leadoff man on base 4 times in the 5 half innings so far. Bierfeld fouled out down the right field line last inning, and that's the one exception. Kajimoto again squares, drops it down. Up with it is Clark. He's going to go to second, and they will get the force play on Skelton. Nicely done by Coronado, who had to leapfrog Skelton sliding in. Fielder's choice. The out goes 2-6. Clark's gotten better with the arm. I don't think this was necessarily a tough play on the bunt. Kajimoto certainly would have wanted to get that one deeper down, but that's a strong throw. And then Coronado has to get out of the way. There's nothing illegal about Skelton slide right there. You don't get to call the Chase Utley rule on that one. Not even close.
You know, when it first went off the bat of Kajimoto, I thought it was going to roll up the line. When it hit that ground the first time, it really slowed it up and gave Clark an opportunity to pounce on it and make a strong throw down to second to get the lead runner.
Kajimoto 5 for 10 stealing bases. He's aboard at first. Jovan Rosa back to the plate. He smashed into a double play back in the first inning. And that is lined and caught by Weber. Quick throw to first, and he throws it away, and that will be an error. Kajimoto gets to go to second. Weber thought he saw daylight, but I don't know that it existed at all. He made a good play on the line drive, but Kajimoto was going to get back, and the throw was completely unmanageable for Steve Clevenger. He had to try and get around Kajimoto to have a chance at handling it.
Well, Weber's had his frustrations here defensively. 2 errors last night, 1 on this play.
He thought he had a chance to turn 2, and with the ball going out of bounds, Kajimoto was actually given third.
Yeah. Because it ricocheted and went into the Lancaster dugout.
And because the runner had started to go to second, he gets that base and another one. He already had first base secured. Maddox stepping in with a runner at third base and 2 outs for the second straight inning.
You like the thinking of Weber to try and double up, get out of the inning, but sometimes you got to just eat it. Hold on to it.
There wasn't much daylight for that throw. And then he threw it simply to the wrong side of Kajimoto. Clevenger had no chance to handle it. And then the ball just found the wrong spot. Ball 1, strike 1. Anywhere else, and Kajimoto's at second, not at third. And at 2 bases with the ball going out of bounds. Ball 2 missing.
Well, Lewis stranded Skelton at third base to end the first inning.
With Maddox on a strikeout.
Yeah. Now a chance to do it again.
It's 2-1 here. There's a swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, the off-speed pitch, I think, is the one to throw to Maddox. So many times I think he's expecting something. Whoa.
That was a fastball cut on and missed. And Lewis strikes him out a second time. Each time with a runner at third base, so there's a hit and error. 1 man left. Neither team can crack home plate. Bottom of the third in a scoreless game coming around. It's the infamous pork race here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. And I think the pork chop went down. The sausage out in front.
But these guys are ruthless.
Pushed pork.
So in other words, then he should have got in front of him and pulled him then.
Yes. The sausage, the ham steak, and the pork chop, and I cannot tell the pork chop from the ham steak. I'm sorry. After all this time, I can't do it. Here's Trayvon Robinson leading off the third inning. Swing and a miss against Nappo. Trayvon flied out the center back in the first. He's been quiet this series, but batted .342 in the month of July. Sent the ways foul down the right field side, and Robinson trails 0-2. Nappo trying for a quicker inning than the second. He faced 6 batters on 32 pitches by my count. Long half innings, whether they produce runs or not, have been a matter of course over this season. Nothing in 2. Robinson taking a pitch in the dirt. Remember the Eddie Murphy routine on SNL, Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood? Yeah. Tonight, that is right field here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Nappo.
How many pitches thrown last night? What'd you say?
It was, I think, 335 is what I added up. Over the 9-inning game.
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah. Makes it even more amazing.
Full count. Robinson looking to work his way on ahead of Garner and Halton.
6th time tonight that Nappo has gone to a 3-ball count. 5 times it was full count.
And he walks another one. That's the 3rd. Part of that, of course, can be this ballpark. Pitchers get intimidated by that short porch in right field. Leadoff man is on. Cole Garner will step in. Cole had his at-bat kind of taken away from him in the first inning on a foul ball. A really nice running catch by John Griffin.
What are those batting gloves left over he kept from when he played in New Britain last year?
Could well be. He hit .240 with 7 home runs, but 2 of those home runs came in his debut, and it was against the Barnstormers. Fouled off again down the right field side.
Well, he made a nice debut in his first game here in Lancaster.
I suppose it's worth noting the Barnstormers' 2 base hits tonight are from the left side of the plate, and both going the other way against Nappo. There may be a bit of a secret there. Check swing, and ball 1, strike 1. They ask for help, and Bill Worthington is not about to give it.
That wasn't even close.
That's worth asking.
Yeah.
You know what your mother always told you. They can only tell you no.
Yep.
2 balls and a strike. Now, that probably never worked with Mom. Mom got tired of you asking.
Mom.
But for anybody else out in the world, especially when it comes to things like job applications, college apps, so you might as well try. They can only tell you no. 2-1. Garner with a swing and a ball lifted out to left center field. Didn't get all of this one, and Bierfeld takes it from Krause. 1 out here in the 3rd inning. Bringing on Sean Halton. Halton struck out back in the 1st inning, the only one so far from Greg Nappo, and that was on a beautiful off-speed pitch at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Neither one of these ball clubs has done much of a job tonight in terms of advancing base runners.
No.
5 out of the 6 half innings, the leadoff man has reached base. We still do not have a run on the board. to Halton. Yeah, a slow breaking ball for a strike. It is 0-1. Steve Clevenger waiting on deck.
Well, you always got that infamous question, are we there yet?
Swinging a foul tip.
Well, that must have been hard for you to travel during the summer, being in a booth all year.
The family vacations we took one in late September, early October when my kids were 7 and 2. We went to French Canada and loved it. Strike 3 called. Nappo crossing up Halton for a second straight time. Went fastball here at 0-2. Didn't see that one coming. 2 outs, and here's Clevenger. 5 hits in a row for Steve. He grounded out in the 8th inning on Sunday. It's the last time he's been retired. Robinson still at first. He'll get a throw as the New Britain Bees smell out a stolen base attempt here, and I can't blame them. Robinson is 13 for 14, and Clevenger's hitting only singles, so why wouldn't the Barnstormers want to get Trayvon Robinson into scoring position?
Well, we've seen Clevenger go to left field numerous times. Now's the time I'd like to see him pull one to the right side.
Down and away from Nappo. Ball 1-0, and that was his 62nd pitch. He's missed with half of them. He's been, I guess you would say, effectively wild here tonight. Way outside and low, and another one stopped by Skelton.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't hurt him yet. He hasn't given up any runs, but where the pitch count is getting higher and higher as the innings go by.
You got 2 pretty skinny catchers back there tonight in Clark and Skelton, and they're going to lose a few pounds each in that gear this evening. They can't afford to give up. Clevenger takes a strike. It's 2-1. I mean, there's not much meat on either one of those guys.
And it's supposed to be even warmer tomorrow.
Clevenger gets ball 3 down low. Skelton keeps it in front. 3-1. Garrett Weber on deck. He's hit the ball the hardest among the Barnstormers tonight, but 0 for 1 to show for it. And Nappo has now thrown 65 pitches already in this game. Rommie's at 53. And there's no score. Robinson out to a lead. Clevenger swings and doesn't get all of it, driving it out to right field, but Hinshaw has the play. Leadoff man walks. Leadoff man is left at first, and at the end of 3, it's still a scoreless ball game. Clouds moving into the Lancaster area. We have had some action the first 3 innings, just none of it at home plate. Base runners everywhere, but nobody can score. Connor Bierfeld will lead off the 4th against Rommie Lewis. Lewis should be a little bit fresher than his mound opponent tonight, Greg Nappo. But these two lefties have had a workout through these first 3 scoreless innings. Bierfeld out on a foul ball into the right field corner, back in the 2nd. Lewis to the plate. A ball is low, 1-0. Bierfeld trying to right a wrong here. He's the only leadoff batter to have been retired in this game on that foul out. Ball 1 pitch, he's not going to be retired here. That ball is crushed to left field, and that will be home run number 17 for Connor Bierfeld. Well back up onto the hillside. It is 1-0 in favor of New Britain. Nothing cheap about that one, Eric.
No. No, and again, that's the one you can tell by the sound that that thing was going to go a long, long way.
Bierfeld challenging the league leaders here in the Atlantic League in the home run category. Now here's Jordan Hinshaw. He grounded out his first time up.
When that guy gets the barrel on the bat, that's going to cause a lot of damage. And I get, well, the silver lining is there was nobody on base.
To Hinshaw, swing and a miss. No balls and a strike. John Griffin and Michael Krause will follow. Bierfeld is 5th in the league in home runs. Casey Hobson gone 5 weeks now, still tied for the lead.
Wow.
Michael Snyder caught him over the weekend, and then tied for 3rd, Angelo Sonko and Sean Halton with 19. Bierfeld now has 17. Swing and a miss. 0-2 on Hinshaw.
Well, you can't help but to think if Hobson was here an entire year, what kind of numbers he would have put up.
He was on a pace for 46 home runs and 133 runs batted in when San Francisco picked him up. 46 and 133.
Those numbers are staggering.
Ball 2 is low on Hinshaw. I don't think those Barnstormers records would have been broken. I mean, the home run record is 29. The RBI record is 103. Now ball 3 is off the plate. It's gone from 0-2 to 3-2 on Hinshaw. Sean Halton could conceivably catch those, depending on how he finishes up. Ground ball towards shortstop, and a backhanded bid by Coronado comes up short. If Hinshaw had read that, he had a shot at going to second, but he was too busy steaming down the line, not sure whether that ball is going to be played or not. It's a weird in-between play for Coronado. I don't think he necessarily, with the inexperience, went after that necessarily the best. So we're going to await a ruling on that one. Joel's looking at it again, and he's going to give it a base hit. John Griffin stepping in. He walked back in the 2nd inning. Hinshaw takes off, and that ball is cranked toward the gap in right center field. That is going to be by Robinson. Played off the wall by Amaral. Here comes Hinshaw. He's headed home, but they have a play on the trailing runner. Clevenger back to Weber, and tagged out as Griffin. Well, the Barnstormers pick up and out on the bases, but a 2nd run scores on the play. Just a long single for Griffin. Hinshaw scoring from first on a single. Something you won't see terribly often. Griffin caught in the rundown, and he is tagged out by Garrett Weber.
8-4-6-3-4.
Wasn't that Jenny's phone number?
867-5309.
Yeah. Griffin will get an RBI on the play. It's 2-0, 1 out. Michael Krause to the plate. Krause reached on an infield base hit his first time up. Fastball for a strike. It is 0-1.
I guess the alarming thing is those two, that home run and then that shot to the gap. 2 hard hit balls.
inside. Ball one, strike one. And that bouncer Hinshaw hit toward the hole at shortstop. I sit here, I'm not quite certain what went wrong and how that play could have been made, because Hinshaw runs really well. I guess you try and back up into the hole and make the play on a second bounce, but I don't know if you can get the throw off from there. But Coronado charged it, got caught in between hops. Swing and a miss. Down goes Kraus. And that's the third strikeout for Lewis tonight. 2 outs, Baca will step in. That Hinshaw base hit, it looked funny, but I'm trying to process what you could have done to turn that into an out. It's not an easy play, certainly, to get it in between bounces there. Popped up foul out of play. 1 strike on Baca.
The only thing is if he's able to loop back and get in front of it. But again, from this angle, hard to tell how hard it was hit.
But do you throw out Hinshaw from there?
Yeah, that's the other key component of the equation. Because you got a guy that can fly down the line. Well, and these are all things that Coronado's going to learn and get used to.
Outside, ball 2, 2-1. And I know Joel deliberated about that one for a while. Our YouTube feed is on about a 45-second delay, he was telling me earlier. So if he's not sure about a call, he actually watches the broadcast a pitch or two later to see it all over again. 3-1. If you're still not sure, you can always rewind. Up the line, foul, 3 balls and 2 strikes. But I have sat in the seat of the official scorekeeper. I did it for a couple of years full time, and I've done it other times. And that one would have me scratching my head. I'd be asking about 6 opinions, and it'd probably be split.
Up and down the press box. Survey, error, hit. Raise your hand.
3-2 with 2 outs. Lewis to the plate. That's taken out to right field. And again, Trayvon will be there to retire Baca. But it's a productive inning for New Britain. 2 runs on 3 hits. They don't leave anybody. And now we'll go to the bottom of the 4th. The Bees leading 2-0. Well, at least it's not ice cream they're showing us tonight.
Oh, it's only the 4th inning.
It's only the 4th inning. This is true. Still to come. There's Stan Clyburn, the wily fox that he is. He has been in the professional ranks in baseball for more than 4 decades. And to his left is Daisuke Yoshida, who's Daisuke has been a part of this league now for many, many years with Butch at Southern Maryland as a player initially. Nappo goes to work on Garrett Weber. And Garrett looks at a strike. It is 0-1. Well, the Barnstormers will need to rally again tonight. Down by 2 here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Nappo comes back. Weber a solid stroke. Ground ball to the hole at shortstop. Baca will fire across. You know, for a guy with only a small college experience coming into this year, Michael Baca is a pretty fine defensive shortstop. I like what I see out there. One out.
And again, you mentioned it earlier. It seems like teams come into here, into Clipper Magazine Stadium, and all of a sudden their gloves just light up. And it's been, really, New Britain's been very steady defensively.
They've looked awfully good out there tonight. Lastings Millage, the batter, he walked back in the 2nd inning. Lancaster trying to pull out of a 2-0 hole tonight. Nappo will go to work. Millage gets a ball up and away. That was a 2-pitch out on Weber. Nappo averaging 22 pitches per inning. Foul ball looping back here off the bat of Millage. Sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
You still don't have one.
And it will be a while.
It was an absolute fluke when that ball hopped in here. And you weren't here to see it.
I was hoping they'd have it on tape.
To Millage, 1-1 off the end of the bat out to center. Michael Krause patrolling a bit to his left. 2 up and 2 down in the Barnstormers half of the 4th. Well, they'll bring on Coronado.
You know, and I think you hit the nail on the head, too, talking about Nappo, and he's being effectively wild. The fact that Lancaster just has 2 hits. They've had base runners via the walk. They just have not been able to solve him yet, and maybe that wildness is working to his favor.
The Barnstormers have, with the exception of the Weber line drive back in the 2nd inning, really not squared anything up tonight. And you've got to tip your hat to Nappo, because his downfall, his bane last Thursday was Sean Halton, and he's come back tonight and struck him out twice. 1 strike, the count to Coronado. Playing in front of family and friends once again this evening. Inside a ball. Catcher Tyler Clark waits on deck. Nappo stays away. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Well, and as Lancaster has done pretty much all year, those middle innings are when the bats came alive in a big way last night, and then they got help from Long Island and beating York last night.
Coronado drives that toward the gap in right center field. Krause does a magnificent job sliding behind it, but he can't control it, and Coronado sprints into second. He'll get a double there.
And it was a nice play by Krause to cut it off, and if he's able to get to his feet, he keeps Coronado to a single. But the fact that he bobbled it and then lost his footing, Coronado into second easily.
That ball was hit really hard and by all rights should have gotten all the way to the wall. Krause made a great play to keep it from getting through. Coronado at second with 2 outs, and here is Tyler Clark.
Now Clark's got to come up with that big 2-out hit, or at least get on base to keep the inning alive to get to the top of the order.
Clark with a walk back in the second. Nappo will work him to the outside corner at the knees. Great location in strike 1. Coronado picking up his 8th extra base hit as a Barnstormer in his 17th game. One and one now to the Barnstormers' 6'5" catcher who looks up to Joe Mauer, major league catcher, built of a similar stature.
The reason why he wears number 7?
Ball 2 is upstairs, 2-1. Either that or that was the last jersey remaining.
Well, and you got to look how Mauer with the move to first, how that might extend his career.
Two balls, one strike. Clark pops this up, first base side. It'll carry out of play. But the Barnstormers have extended an inning which started off 2 outs on 5 pitches. Double by Coronado. Clark up there, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the fact that they didn't get the leadoff runner on, maybe that's a good sign. Because the first 3 innings, their leadoff batter has reached base. So they're going to maybe reverse it here.
Tyler Clark batting 2-2. The motion, Nappo to the plate. Ground ball slowly hit toward third. Digging it up is Rosa. Boy, he's good. 5-3. It will end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man was left on base. We'll go to the 5th inning. Still 2-0 New Britain.
Boy,
Bank of clouds has rolled in from the west. Don't seem to, according to the radar, have much, if any, rain to bring along with them. Definitely cuts down on the glare here in the booth and anybody sitting on the first base side and the left-handed batters.
A very welcome sight.
James Skelton leading off. He's been hit by a pitch and singled. He gets a ball low from Lewis. 1-0. Looks like there's a little bit of rain off to our east. Skelton shows bunt and takes a strike.
Well, I was over in York County today, and on my way over to the stadium, there was a patch that might have been maybe half a mile long, soaked. And then just like that, it was dry. So it was hit or miss showers.
Ball 2 is inside, 2-1. Sitting here on the east side of the river with the rivalry between the two cities, there's probably some obvious insult lines here, but I like the people from York, so I'm not going to go there. 2-1. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2.
Well, and based on the play of York here in the second half, that rivalry should only intensify here in the second half of the season. Not to mention the Community Cup.
Yeah, Barnstormers have to win 5 out of the last 6 with every game in York to keep the cup. That's going to be a tall order. If they can do it, I think they're going to win the second half. 3-2, Lewis to Skelton. Payoff is on the way, and it's a walk. Leading off here in the 5th inning. Rommie now has given up 2. Kajimoto will step in. He bunted into a force. Back in the 3rd inning, Skelton has reached base, leading off every odd inning in this game.
Well, and I mentioned it earlier, though, Lancaster's done a pretty good job of keeping New Britain out of really big innings.
Kajimoto with a strike looking. Lewis's pitch count up to, I have 78. Nappo has thrown 80. So we're going to see the bullpens eventually. Low for ball, 1-1.
Yeah, Lewis really could use a double play here and a quick out to Rosa. You gotta throw minimal pitches here in this 5th inning to try and get to 6, hopefully 7.
Skelton back in ahead of that throw. York has a 5-0 lead tonight over Long Island. They're in the bottom of the 5th. Bridgeport up 4-2 over Southern Maryland. Somerset and Sugar Land yet to start. They should be about at the national anthem right now at Constellation Field. That's good for a second strike. 1-2. That York Ball Club is going to push the Barnstormers to the hilt here in the second half. Sugar Land still could. Sugar Land's only 3.5 out to start tonight. And again, we don't need to worry about Southern Maryland necessarily. 1-2. Foul to the right. And whoa, what did that hit?
I think it hit one of the advertising signs.
Did it hit right near one of our sound microphones? It sounded like an explosion. Again, 1-2, high out of the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes. York is now 2nd in the league in overall offense. Not quite in runs scored, but in OPS, behind the Barnstormers. They have been able to reload that ball club. They've lost 2 infielders and their closer over the course of the season. Ground ball rolled on the left side. Halton will go to second. Weber doesn't have a chance really to double up Kajimoto. 5-4 on the force out. Kajimoto safe at first. Rosa stepping in.
That's all right. You cut the lead runner off.
Ball was hit too slowly to turn 2. And again, a perfectly legal slide by Skelton. The rule has been invoked only once this year with York in here. And Mark Mason was not a happy camper. Was called on the top of the 9th inning. It was the night Trayvon Robinson hit the walk-off home run. It took York out of the top of the 9th. Fastball in there, strike 1 to Rosa. Rosa's hit the ball hard twice tonight. He's 0 for 2. He's had a heck of a night in the field. Back to the screen, and it's 0-2. There are players who are in this league year in and year out, and you don't know why major league teams don't buy their contracts. Rosa would be one of those. And then you look at the Barnstormers. Blake Galen, his 6th year here in Lancaster, and the 4th year out of the last 5, he's gone somewhere from here. It's an annual thing. Brian Evans, 3 years in a row, has left. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Rosa down looking. That's number 4 for Rommie. 2 outs. Rosa is not happy over that one, and demonstrably so. Taking up his case with Carlos Dano, but knows where to draw the line to stay in the game.
Well, he was the first guy when Kajimoto argued the pickoff and stolen base by Amaral. Rosa came flying over and grabbed Kajimoto and took him aside before Kajimoto said something that could have gotten him ejected. Like you said, he pushed the envelope, but Rosa, being the veteran, knows, okay, I had my say, time to turn and walk away.
Batter is Maddox, 0 for 2 on strikes tonight. He gets a ball inside. Lewis's pitch count into the upper 80s. Jarrett Leverett last night, 4 2/3, over 110.
Well, both teams have had their beef with the men in blue here tonight.
2 balls and nothing. Well, Long Island's caught up a couple of runs. It's now 5-2 in the 6th. And somehow Somerset and Sugar Land all of a sudden reach top of the 14th. No score.
That is a well-pitched ball game.
And also not the case. 2-0, Maddox with a fly ball out toward right center. Should be little trouble for Bo Amaral. He'll take it into the dugout. Leadoff walk, but nothing else in the top half of the 5th. One man is left on base. We've got the bottom of the 5th and the top of the order coming up for Lancaster. Still 2-0 New Britain. An enjoyable night at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and the locals, if they've watched this team closely enough over the 2017 season, know this team is in this ball game. Because Lancaster has been such a remarkable team this year, innings 6 through 9, with a plus 71 run differential in those 4 innings.
Well, we just need to start it 1 inning earlier.
Bo Amaral at the plate, and he takes ball 1 outside. Amaral is singled through the left side, and he is fouled out with the bases loaded. On a play you'll hardly ever see from a left-handed batter. Caught in front of the first base dugout. Now he goes to center field, shallow, coming on is Krause. 1 away here in the 5th inning. Trayvon Robinson stepping in. Robinson is 0 for 1 with a walk.
Now, New Britain's bullpen is working. I believe that is Nate Rowe, right-hander.
Yeah.
Nothing yet in Lancaster's bullpen. Maybe a little bit of stretching, but
Yeah, I think you're going to see Rommie come out for a 6th inning. 89 pitches. He's pretty durable. Ball is wide to Trayvon. 1-0. There you get a look at the right-hander warming up. Stan Has 2 or 3 go-to guys you'll see out there a lot. Rowe is one, Fry the left-hander another.
We saw him last night.
Casey Coleman. Brandon Shimo. 2 balls and nothing. High. Robinson with a chance to work his way on base. Barnstormers have not gone down 1-2-3 in any inning tonight. They have left 6 runners on base. Nappo back to work, 3-0. Robinson should be taking, he is, and it's a strike, 3-1.
And to make matters worse, 4 of those 6 were in scoring position. And you don't want to leave those guys on.
3-1, Robinson hits that well. Bierfeld turns his back to home plate and chases it to the wall, and that scales the wall. It'll be a ground rule double for Trayvon Robinson. Trayvon with his 15th double of the season.
Well, that was a laser shot. I think that was one bounce over the wall.
Bierfeld knew he had no play on that on the fly and just hit the warning track and jumped up onto the hill.
All right, so we got another runner in scoring position.
You know, the Barnstormers did a fantastic job with runners in scoring position last night and for the most part here in the second half. Tonight, not so far. Here's a pitch to Cole Garner and strike 1 on the outside edge. Tonight, the Barnstormers with runners in scoring position are 0 for 4. They haven't gotten those runners to scoring position early in innings, though. Line drive right at Rosa. Oh, that's a tough break for the Barnstormers. 2 outs, and now it's up to Halton. Boy, you talk about a difference over 5 days. Halton tore Nappo apart at New Britain on Thursday, and tonight it's exactly the other way. Get a look at Jovan Rosa and that glove, which should be colored gold here tonight, to match his jersey and his play. Halton digs in with 2 outs and the runner at second base. Ross Peoples feeling a little bit better today. Boy, has he been knocked down by a head cold the last 3 or 4 days.
Throw on top of that, you lose 2 more players to Major League affiliates.
Alice Dano giving that pitch to the left-handers against the right-handed hitters tonight. Halton trailing 0-1, and he has seen the best that Greg Nappo has to offer so far tonight. We'll see if he can respond here and knock in the run. Nappo's pitch, swing and a miss. It's 0-2. It's taken very few pitches for Nappo to strike out Halton twice and get him to 0-2 here. It's only been like 9 or 10 pitches on these 3 at-bats after Halton completely destroyed him last Thursday. Boy, talk about making the adjustment.
In a big way.
Well, the Barnstormers have hit a couple balls pretty well this inning. They just have the runner at second with 2 outs. 0-2 on Halton. Nappo ready to go. Time called at the plate.
Well, hopefully the 3rd time is the charm for Halton. Base hit would be huge right here.
Just get the club back to within 1, break up the shutout. And it's smashed up the middle. There is that base hit. Krause has to come a long way to get it. Robinson headed toward the plate. The throw is offline, and Robinson around behind the tag attempt. On to second goes Halton. Halton keeps his RBI streak going. 11 now in 6 games, his 65th of the year. So he's able to bounce back and get the job done. And go to second on the throw home.
And the 3rd one is the charm, and great slide by Robinson to go wide and then reach in with his left hand.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful athletic move to get around behind James Skelton. Halton the RBI single to second on the throw, and Steve Clevenger will try to tie things up here in the 5th inning.
If that throw is on line, Robinson's probably nailed at the plate.
Which is surprising because Krause had to come in so far to gather that base hit with 2 outs. but a strong throw indeed. First pitch, good for a strike on Clevenger. Lancaster gets 1 run back.
And the way Clevenger's been swinging the bat here recently, a base hit could tie up the ball game.
94th pitch from Nappo, grounded softly foul up the first baseline. Two strikes to Clevenger. Lancaster on the board in the bottom of the 5th inning. Halton is on some kind of RBI tear. Ground ball down the line, and too casual in that bullpen. That's line toward left center field. Krause won't get there. It's in for a base hit. Here comes Halton. Tie game. Steve Clevenger with his 6th hit in his last 7 at-bats. Pair of 2-out RBI base hits back-to-back for the Barnstormers in the 5th inning, and they have leveled up the ball game. Just a good, clean swing by Clevenger, taking that the other way.
I just love watching this guy swing the bat. It is so smooth, so fluid, and he can go anywhere on the field.
Stan Clyburn is on his way out after now 95 pitches from Greg Nappo. He is going to be relieved. He does not finish the 5th inning. Clevenger tying up the game against him. It's 2-2, and Nate Rowe is going to be summoned from the New Britain Bees bullpen. We're going to have the change. We'll be back in a moment. Garrett Weber will step in. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Stan Clyburn playing matchups right versus right, but this may play into the Barnstormers' hands. Garrett Weber, a better hitter against right-handed pitching. Clevenger at first base with 2 outs as Nate Rowe takes over.
I don't know what it is about these middle innings for Lancaster, but boy, it's fun to watch.
Low to Garrett, ball 1, no strikes. Lastings Millage on deck. Weber's hit the ball respectably well both times against Nappo. The 1-0 crowds him, ball 2. Lancaster now with 6 hits on the night.
You know, and hats off to Sean Halton. Struck out swinging his first time, got fooled, went down on strikes looking.
And was 0-2.
But that experience, to battle in there and take one right back through the middle. That was a big, big at bat.
Garrett Weber batting 2-1. It is into close from Rowe. 3 balls and 1 strike. Nate Rowe is in his 45th game of the year. He's 4-3. His ERA stands at 3.35. From Plainfield, New Jersey. Foul ball back. And we go to another full count.
Sure, why not? We haven't seen one from a New Britain pitcher since the 3rd inning.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Clevenger will be going. He takes off. The pitch to Weber is sent high to center field and shallow. Michael Krause doesn't see it. The ball bounces in. Or did no.
Bierfeld caught
Bierfeld backing up caught
it.
It. Great job by Connor Bierfeld. He comes in and should be smiling. The ball hit the straightaway center field. Krause didn't know where it was. It was falling behind him, and Bierfeld, look at that. Talk about a heads-up play to save a run. 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 man left on base. Great job, Connor Bierfeld. A home run and just heads-up baseball right there. We'll go to the 6th tie. Nice sunset here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and 1 more on this homestand here on Blue Ridge Cable 11, Eric.
Indeed. Tomorrow night, 6:30, wrap up this 3-game series against the New Britain Bees, and hopefully Lancaster can go into that final game and look for a sweep. They've battled back from a 2-0 deficit to tie it.
Here's Connor Bierfeld, slow ground ball, third base side, barehanded pick, Halton, and the tag applied by Clevenger. Well done, 5-3. Good defense on the side of the Barnstormers. Connor Bierfeld has been in the midst of a lot of the highlights tonight. Long home run to left, and that great play backing up Krause, who lost the ball in the twilight. You see Clevenger in his glove work again. 1 out.
We have seen just some outstanding plays defensively, but boy, when there's a play like that at first base, I cringe, because how many times do you see that first baseman get his hand pushed back and you're looking at a sprained wrist, a broken wrist?
We lost Lance Burkhart for a while back, was it 07 or 08? R.J. Hively starting to warm up in the bullpen. Burkhart was out of position because of an injury to Ian Bladergrone, and Lance was playing first and got hurt on a play just like that, and we lost Berkey for a while. 2 balls, no strikes to Jordan Hinshaw. It was 1 for 2.
Well, let's not, and the play Halton made too. I mean, you see these third basemen make these plays barehanded, and they make it look so routine. That is not routine. That is a fine play.
Well, Halton works a lot with Josh Bell, and I've never seen anybody better at charging balls than Bell was last year. 2-1, that's taken into center field. Amaral will have to take it on a hop. Hinshaw with his second hit of the ball game tonight. Jonathan Griffin will step in. Griffin with an RBI single in the right center field, scoring Hinshaw all the way from first. Hinshaw was running on the play. Rommie Lewis will have to deal with Hinshaw on board, and Scott Patterson is going to come out. And this is about pitch count as much as anything else. Rommie's at 95 for the night.
Yeah.
They want Rommie through 6, I think. So they're not ready to make the change yet. But you've got Griffin and then Krause, a right-hander, warming up in Hively. It's 2-2. You know, Rommie wants that quality start, the chance at a win. He's a fierce competitor out there. And you're talking about a guy, as I said, pushing 35 years of age. He sat out last year to take care of some family issues, wanted to come back this year. Didn't seem to get any interest from the other side of the river, but I've only heard one side of that story. And he was a free agent, so he came here. And he's been able to soak up some innings.
Well, he has not worked a 1-2-3 inning all night. And if he can...
Nor at Nappo.
Yeah. If he can work through this and get out of this inning and finish and, you know, at least leave the ball game tied until Lancaster comes to bat in the bottom of the 6th, you know, what more can you ask if you're Ross Peoples?
He'll go to first, chasing Hinshaw again. Griffin tonight, a walk and an RBI base hit. John Griffin had not done anything against the Barnstormers all year until he reached Jarrett Leverett for a 3-run homer last week in a 3-for-3 game. And now tonight he's got a walk and an RBI single. This guy loves to hit to the opposite field, says Griffin. And you don't expect that necessarily out of a guy who stands 6'6". You expect that big swing and the pull hitter. But at least against the Barnstormers, that has not been Griffin's game. Home runs, yes, but very often to the opposite field. The one he hit against Leverett last week was pulled. Strike on that outside corner.
Good pitch. Well, we've seen Lewis mix up the off-speed stuff and then come back with fastballs.
He'll go to first base again. They don't want Hinshaw running. They don't want him in scoring position, first of all, but they also are trying to keep a double play in order and keep the hit and run from happening because Griffin is so good at hitting to the right side. He's not going to go. The pitch is pulled into left, so Griffin keeps his perfect night going. Michael Krause will bat with runners at first and second. 8 total hits off Rommie Lewis.
Well, even if, I mean, Halton right now is shaded towards third base to cut off, you know, down the line. Even if he's in his normal position, that's a base hit. I mean, that ball was just hit so hard.
Now, Ross Peoples is coming out. It will be all for Lewis here tonight. Back-to-back one-out base hits here in the 6th inning. And Lewis will leave after throwing 98 pitches tonight. It will give way to R.J. Hively. Hively worked a couple of innings in the 6th reliever effort on Sunday. Lewis will depart. No chance for a win tonight, and hoping that Hively can get him out of this inning and freeze those runners. So we're going to take a break and pause for these messages. It's up to R.J. Hively now to keep this ball game tied. He inherits runners at first and second with one out. R.J. and his 35th game of the year. Ross and Scott have been so good at spreading the work around. The relievers are all kept happy. No complaints on the part of the bullpen. Hively, guy who can come in and get strikeouts or ground balls. You'd prefer the latter here. First and second. And there's a pickoff throw. The tag just laid on Hinshaw. It looked like they had a play.
They did. If that ball's a little more in towards second base, towards the left field side of the bag, they might have picked him off.
That would have been very costly if the throw was to the second base side and Hinshaw just able to get back in.
Ooh. Well, his strikeout to walk ratio is almost 3-1. So, yeah, he is a guy that can rack him up.
Hinshaw bluffs, doesn't go. The pitch inside, ball one.
But, yes, I am sure Hively would much more take that ground ball.
52 strikeouts for RJ this year in 38 and a third innings. Krause batting 1-0 against him. Next offering, grounded foul. Kicking back out to Daisuke. 1-1.
And then just to magnify it, then you get a double play, you get out of the inning. Your number 9 hitter's leading off then the 7th inning.
It's Baca on deck. Next offering, pulled foul on the ground. Make it 1-2.
Well, if he pulls one fair like that, it's going to be right at Halton. And then they'll get a chance at a double play.
Sixth inning of baseball in a very close contest tonight. New Britain with 2 in the 4th, Lancaster 2 in the 5th. A lot of base runners stranded. Krause awaiting the 1-2. Hively ready to go. Runners take off. Pitch inside. Clark's throw is good, but not in time. Just beating it is Hinshaw. Perfect throw, but Hinshaw and Griffin got good jumps. He got in. Yep. Second and third. Now the infield will play in, and it's 2-2 on Krause. Tyler Clark has been hot with his throwing arm. Just missed that one. Hinshaw got a great jump. Anderson De La Rosa might have calculated that, a little bit more experience, and tried to make the play on Griffin at second, who's the much slower runner of the two. And he got in.
Yeah, he did.
2-2 on Krause. Now you have to go for the strikeout. Infield up all the way around. Hively ready to go, and the pitch popped up. That'll get into the seats.
Talking about an off-speed pitch. Now you got to come back and somehow fool Krause one way or the other. And you're right. Now they do need the strikeout.
So close to picking Hinshaw off second, and now the double steal, putting runners at second and third. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. He got him. Strikeout number 53 for R.J. Hively, and Clark go to the breaking ball, and you could almost see that had to be a breaking pitch on Krause. Michael Krause has struck out more than any other player in the Atlantic League this season, and it's the reason Stan Clyburn bats him 8th. You can do a lot of damage down there. Here is Baca, who's hit the ball hard twice tonight off of Lewis, both times into the glove of Rommie Lewis out in right field. Hively working to keep this game tied at 2. Facing Michael Baca. upstairs for a ball 1-0. And this is an out you really want to get because Skelton's on deck. Left-handed batter, you don't want to face him with the bases loaded. Lancaster does have a lefty warming up in the bullpen in case it happens. But Hively wants Baca. 1-0. Next offering, cut on and missed.
And we have experienced what Skelton can do in this ballpark, and you don't want to see him up there with bases loaded. They've kept him in check. He's been on base, but he hasn't done any damage.
Fouled away. A ball and 2 strikes. Hively gains the advantage against Baca, the number 9 hitter. Michael Baca playing every day right now for New Britain. Jake McGuigan was traded from New Britain over to Long Island.
So what do you throw here?
Do you challenge him? It's 1-2. Hively ready to go, and it's a breaking ball, tap foul. Hively seems to have a really good break on that pitch at the moment. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Hively trying to get through this top of the 6th, freeze Rommie Lewis's runners, and get the Barnstormers back up in a tie game. 1-2.
Challenge him.
Hively ready to go. Here's the pitch. It breaks outside and low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, I know you checked the radar, but those clouds look ominous. I mean, they are dark. Now, granted, the sun's set as well, but boy.
Showed rain in the other direction.
Yeah, okay. Not that I'm hoping for it.
Baca awaits the 2-2. He's battled Hively. 2 runners in scoring position for the New Britain Bees. Hively comes back, and it's ball 3. You can't toy anymore. You have got to come after him.
Well, now you've got to throw the fastball.
Hively has tried to get Baca to chase. Baca has shown some great discipline at the plate on this at bat. And remember, he is a rookie. He played at a small college in Kansas. 3-2 on the way. Hively ready to go. Here's the payoff, and it's taken to center field. Amaral will not get to it. 1 run scoring, a second man coming. Clark has it, the tag, and Griffin is out at home. But Michael Baca comes through to drive in the go-ahead run for the New Britain Bees. Amaral cuts down Griffin at home 8-2, but Hinshaw scores. New Britain is on top. Great at bat for Michael Baca. 1 run, 3 hits, no errors, and a man left. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. The Barnstormers trail by 1. It's been a tense one tonight at Clipper Magazine Stadium. We have seen plays on the bases. We have seen some clutch two-out hitting. Barnstormers find themselves down by 1 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Nate Rowe in the game for New Britain right now is in line for the win. New Britain scoring the two-out run that's charged to Rommie Lewis. Michael Baca coming up with that big two-out RBI single in the 6th inning. They kept throwing breaking balls to him, and he finally got one up in the zone, not wanting to give up the walk, and he took it to center, driving in the go-ahead run. Here's Millage, Lasting's 0 for 1 with a walk. Breaking ball nicely into the zone from Rowe. 0-1.
Well, and you said just a great presence at the plate for Baca.
Ball 1, strike 1.
I mean, Hively tried to tempt him with those pitches down and away, and Baca just wouldn't bite.
Millage cuts and misses against Rowe. Rowe got Weber on a fly ball to center field that was caught by the left fielder back in the 5th inning. That's a fly out the left in the scorebook, but it doesn't tell the story. And that saved a run. If that ball falls in, Clevenger's running all the way with 2 outs. The ball was hit high. Krause lost it. And just a good job by Bierfeld reading what was going on and being there to back up. Here's a 1-2. Millage spoils the pitch. He'll stay in. These things that do not show up in box scores, but Connor Bierfeld definitely saved a run.
Well, that's one thing that you were taught in Little League. You
back
always
up.
Back up. Never take anything for granted.
1-2 pitch. Millage just able to foul it away. We're only in the bottom of the 6th tonight. Hively struck out Krause, and he had Baca 1 and 2. Looked like the Barnstormers would get out of the inning. 1-2. Millage fouls it straight back in our direction.
Dreaded 2-pitch count again. Well, there you just have to give a lot of credit to these New Britain batters. Wasting pitches, showing good presence at the plate, not to chase anything.
1-2. Millage squibs a foul up the first base side.
Yeah, he's making road work.
Up to pitch number 8 on the at-bat. Lastings is now 0 for his last 10 over 5 games. So obviously there are some walks in there. 5 of them. But he hasn't had a hit since the 26th at New Britain 6 days ago. What was that? Wednesday. Row to the plate, and it's driven foul to Prince Street. We go to pitch number 9. Didn't get all the way there. Looked like it was headed in that direction.
It was.
Lastings Millage back in at 1-2.
There's a couple of youngsters. They are just planting themselves in that area.
Breaking ball hangs up inside. Millage bats at 2-2.
These kids that must have been here before, they know that you can get those caroms off the upper deck. They're going to go home with a couple of balls.
See if Millage can work his way on. Popped up. Skelton with the play in foul territory. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Bringing on Coronado, who has reached on a forced play, and he has doubled. The Barnstormers did such a great job coming back in the bottom of the 5th inning with the two-out RBI singles from Halton and Clevenger, only to give the lead back in the 6th inning. And what can you do? Simply 3 clean singles. Oh, it's our ice cream shot of the night. good-looking breaking ball. Coronado was backing out of the way. It's 0-1. Lancaster's been out hit 9-6 in the ball game. Oh, 1 pitch, fastball running inside. Coronado bats at 1 each.
And they got half those hits last inning.
One, chopper left side. Fairly easy play with that long hop for Rosa. 2 up and 2 down. Rose retired 3 in a row. Tyler Clark will step in. Tyler has walked and grounded a third. The Barnstormers are down by 1 here in the 6th inning. 2 outs, nobody on. Tyler's going to let it fly. He hasn't hit a home run yet this year, but he has home run power. You watch him during BP, you know it's there. And he's hit some balls a long way, just not at the right time in this ballpark. Pitch to him is low, ball 1, no strikes. But I think you're going to see 1 home run swing at least on this plate appearance.
Why not?
It's the right time for it. 1-0, Rowe to the plate. Clark instead goes the other way. A line drive, slicing, and handled by Bierfeld. Well, it's a 1-2-3 inning. Nothing going on for the Barnstormers in the 6th. We're headed to the 7th with New Britain up by 1. The Barnstormers go to their premier left-handed reliever, Daniel Moscas, with James Skelton and then Yusuke Kajimoto. 1-2 here in the 7th inning. Skelton will get the lead off an inning for the 4th time. And here's one of the peculiarities of tonight's game. James Skelton has reached base, leading off an inning 3 times as the leadoff batter, and he's not scored. They have not scored in any of those innings. As a matter of fact, with all the leadoff men that have reached base in the game tonight, the only time that the run's been scored with the leadoff batter reaching was a home run.
Right.
Bierfeld in the 4th inning. Well, there have been some wasted opportunities tonight. The Barnstormers have stranded 7. New Britain has left 6 men on. And here is left-hander Daniel Moscas. Inside is Skelton, the ball. 1-0. Moscas pitched an inning last night, gave up a walk, struck out 1. No hits. His night last night started off a little bit shaky. He gave up a long out to Kajimoto, which was run down by Halton on the track. Walked Rosa on 4 pitches. Made it look easy after that. Skelton starts to turn. Barnstormers will ask for help, but that is turned down. Skelton will bat at 2-0. Moscas in his 40th ball game. Very good numbers. 2-0. Skelton shows bunt. He drops it down, and this is a beauty. No play. Oh, that's perfect.
Yes, it was. Because really the only player that had a play on that would have been Halton at third base. And by the time he got to the ball, he picked it up and looked and said, no, nothing I can do there.
Picture perfect push bunt by James Skelton, and he didn't tip it off at all. Got it down. Halton charged. He knew he was beaten. Skelton the runner at first base. Moskos will work to Kajimoto, who twice has forced Skelton at second. He's already squared around to bunt. The pitch, and that's laid down back toward the hill. Moskos will go to first. Sacrifice executed here. 1-3. Skelton's ahead to second. Kajimoto tried to bunt him along in the third inning and didn't get the ball far enough away from Tyler Clark. Resulted in a 2-6 force out. This is a much better sacrifice bunt for Kajimoto. Now here is Jovan Rosa, who is 0 for 3. You may see an intentional walk here, but not yet. They haven't signaled for it. Barnstormers trailing by 1. They'll take their chances. Moskos against Rosa. I don't know you'll see too much here.
Yeah. Probably he'll flirt with the strike zone. But you know he's not going to give Rosa anything really good to hit.
Lancaster down by 1, not wishing to fall any further behind. And part of it, the offense, you can't do quite as much without Rico here. Swing and a miss. Tricked him there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rosa's 0 for 3 tonight. He is wrapped sharply into a double play, lined out to second, and then he struck out looking against Rommie back in the 5th inning. It wasn't a bad outing for Rommie tonight. Just couldn't quite get through 6 innings. Rosa, high fly ball here. Looks like Moskos wins the battle. Trayvon Robinson is there. He sets up for a throw he doesn't have to make. Skelton will stay at second. And Craig Maddox will step in against a left-hander for the 4th time. Well, they went after Rosa and they won.
Yeah, that's a real good approach. Rosa might have been a little bit anxious there at the plate, knowing that he wasn't going to get anything good. Decided to take his chances, and it's going to be Moskos that wins that one.
Maddox tonight is 0 for 3. These two squared off last night. Moskos struck him out. In amongst the 3 doubles that Craig Maddox had in the game. First pitch fastball, that's good. 0-1.
Yeah, you got to get out of this inning without Skelton or anybody else scoring.
High fastball. It is 1-1.
Especially with the top of the order coming up for Lancaster in the home half of the 7th.
Yeah, that's where you really want to make the hay. You've got Amaral, Robinson, and Garner. Here's a 1-1. Maddox with a line drive. Up for it goes Garrett Weber. Nice play. More excellent defense here tonight. Put a star by that one in the scorebook. Garrett Weber taking a base hit away from Craig Maddox and keeping the deficit at 1. 1 hit, 1 left, and Weber, who's not all that tall, able to go airborne. Quite a play. Britain off to the 2-0 lead tonight. The Barnstormers bounce back with back-to-back two-out RBI singles in the bottom of the 5th inning. But since that time, New Britain has retaken the lead on this base hit by the number 9 man, Michael Baca. Bo Amaral having to take it on a bounce. Hinshaw scored, but John Griffin thrown out at the plate. Nice toss by Amaral to close out the top of the 6th inning. We're at the stretch. The Barnstormers still need to make up 1. We don't have necessarily a 7th inning stretch tradition here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, but the twist works. Remember, opening night 2016, we had Chubby Checker here. We tried to set the Guinness Book of World Records mark for the number of people doing the twist simultaneously in one location, and well, we just did not meet Guinness's standards apparently for proof. They have very, very strict standards, and I guess a couple of the elements were missing.
Didn't read the fine print.
Nate Rowe went an inning and a third, and now everyday Brandon Fry comes in. Amaral, Robinson, and Garner are the scheduled hitters. Lancaster saw Fry last night in the 8th. He walked 2, struck out 1. Stan Clyburn's go-to guy from the left side of his bullpen. Amaral is 1 out of 3 in the game. Fry works to him, a swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike. Fry in his 48th game this year. He leads the league. He is in to his 12th game against the Barnstormers. This is the 16th in the season series. That's strike 2 to Bo.
Now this guy's ready to play every day he comes to the ballpark.
Nothing in 2. Time breaks up. Here comes the 0-2. Bends outside and low. Ball 1 and 2 strikes. 12 games in the season series for Brandon Fry.
So he has appeared in just over half of all their ball games. Jeez.
Chopper up the first baseline. This could be difficult, and overrunning it is Fry. Amaral safe at first with the possible tying run.
Well, that was going to be a tough play any way you look at it.
Infield single for Bo Amaral. Fry had to hustle after it. You got the left-handed batter getting the jump out of the box. Fry staggering, couldn't dig the ball up. The batter is Robinson, who has flied to center, walked, and doubled over the head of Bierfeld and left.
I mean, he would have had to have flip it from the side. He would have had no time to turn and throw. Plus, with a guy that can run like Amaral, just adds to the difficulty on the part of Fry.
Robinson squares around a bunt, pops it up back over the screen, and Trayvon is down a strike. Robinson earlier today was the number 3 hitter in the batting order, but with all the changes, Josh Bell coming out, Trayvon ended up batting number 2. He has 4 sacrifice bunts for the year, leading at least the current ball club. There goes Amaral. The pitch is dropped down, and that is a fair ball, and Robinson will be tagged out. It'll be a sacrifice bunt, and Amaral moves up to second base.
2 unassisted. How many times do you see that?
He got pushed, and then Skelton kicked it fair, is what it looks like from here.
Well, Fry is contesting the call with Carlos Dano, and
I don't think Trayvon touched it. I think Skelton did.
He didn't. He didn't.
That ball was dead in the batter's box. Skelton pushed Trayvon into it, and then it was Skelton that kicked it with his foot. Stan Clyburn is going to try to get this call overturned and not have the tying run into scoring position, but instead he's going to the mound. That's going to be it for Fry. You got to give credit to Bo Amaral for having the wherewithal to go to second base on the play and not assuming foul ball.
Yeah, until you hear otherwise, you keep running.
Fry comes out. We're going to have the change, and while we do, we're going to take a break for these messages. This is a complicated play for a ball that didn't go very far. The bunt laid down by Trayvon Robinson on a sacrifice attempt, and it's almost impossible to tell from that angle if the ball came back and hit Trayvon in the knee. Then Skelton pushes Robinson from behind. Robinson doesn't run into the ball, which is still, by the way, in the batter's box and foul. And then Skelton kicks it into fair territory.
Yeah, I was looking for a ripple in the pant leg of Robinson to see if it might have hit him in the kneecap. But then it looked like it dropped straight down. Did it roll off the front of his foot then? But Carlos Dano right on it.
Here's Casey Coleman working to Cole Garner. Ball one is outside and low. Coleman gave up the grand slam to Amaral last night, but he made very quick work of Barnstormer's right-handed hitters. It was a fairly lengthy appearance for Coleman. Tying run in scoring position for the Barnstormers here in the seventh inning. Amaral with the good speed at second. Ball two is high to Cole. 2-0. Halton is on deck.
Boy, two guys quite capable of picking up that runner at second base.
Garner 0 for 3 tonight. A ringing liner to third his last time up. Swing and a miss. That filthy breaking ball that Coleman has. Got him to the big leagues.
You're not kidding.
Barnstormers trying to find a way to tie this ball game up. To Garner, fouled off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You got to watch for that. I guess it's a slider here. Swing and a miss. Oh, he has just been deadly against the right-handed batters in this series. So to bring on Halton, who singled in a run back in the 5th inning after striking out twice. But what can Sean do against that slider? Oh, he struck out looking against Coleman last night. You want to try to get this inning to Clevenger, who is 6 for 7 in the series.
Paybacks.
now led off the inning with an infield base hit, moved up on the Robinson bunt. Outside to Halton. Ball one, no strikes. That's outside, 2-0. And Halton's in a good spot here ahead in the count. But Garner also had a 2-0 jump.
Well, and you get a guy like Coleman that got the confidence in that breaking ball. He'll throw it any time in the count, regardless whether he's ahead or behind.
Swing and a miss. It's 2-1. Barnstormers winners of 8 out of the last 9, 22 out of the last 32. Trailing by 1 here. Looking for a clutch hit again from Sean Halton. The 2-1 offering. Fastball is up to take it to 3 balls and a strike. Casey Coleman looks back at Amaral. 3-1. Halton fouls it off. 3-2. Halton has to be thinking about that breaking ball here. Does Coleman change off and go to the heater? Well, he has been so tough on right-handed batters in this series. Struck out 4 of them last night. Has 1 already tonight. And 3-2 on Sean Halton.
But and this is the beauty of the game. The chess match. Thinking, what is the next move?
Amaral leading from second. Payoff due. There's the breaking ball. He couldn't stay back. Coleman comes on and strikes out 2. We're headed to the 8th. New Britain leading by 1. Scott Schumann will take over here in the New Britain 8th inning. Right-hander will be facing all right-handed batters, Bierfeld, Hinshaw, and Griffin, with Krause and then Baca. Lancaster will still need to make up 1, but for the time being, it's Schumann's job to make sure it's only 1. York's going to win tonight. The Revs are up 10-2 over the Long Island Ducks. They worry me. Barnstormers can't win enough games for my money to stay ahead of York in the second half. 3-game lead coming into tonight, but a chance for it to be whittled back to 2. The Barnstormers can't turn this one around. Here's Connor Bierfeld, who has a home run, 1 out of 3 in the game tonight, facing 6'3" right-hander Scott Schumann. First pitch from Schu, fastball upstairs. Ball 1, no strikes. Schumann threw a scoreless 8th 2 days ago. His last appearance, he gave up a 2-out single to Palmero, a wild pitch, and then got the final out. Foul ball back against Bierfeld. It is 1-1. Hard throwing Scott Schumann having a terrific season here in Lancaster. This is game number 40 for him, matching Munson and Moskos. Here's a 1-1 breaking ball. Bierfeld looking fastball, didn't get it. 1-2.
I look back so far, I think the turning point in this ball game is that RBI single by Baca. Yes, it is the deciding run right now, but 2 strikes, couldn't find that pitch to put him away and leave the inning tied at 2.
Fouled off, still a ball and 2 strikes. That was big. Bierfeld backing up Michael Kraus.
Yes,
was big to close out the home 5th.
And like you said, these are some of the things that don't show up in the box score that really could decide whether it's a win or a loss.
Bierfeld, ground ball on the right side, scooped up by Weber. 1 away here in the 8th inning. Jordan Hinshaw, he's had a big night tonight. 2 for 3, 2 runs scored, a stolen base. The double steal, of course, played a role in the 6th inning. But even if they don't pull that off, Griffin may not have scored on the Baca base hit, but I guarantee Hinshaw would have.
Yeah.
Schumann's pitch. Right there, strike 1 call. Schumann is trying to keep a streak going here tonight. Breaking ball is low, 1-1. Defense straight away against Hinshaw. Griffin on deck, he's perfect. High pop-up foul, make it 1-2. It's still puzzling to me why Scott Schumann remains here when 11 of his teammates have departed for major league organizations. In the past couple of years, about 75 to 80% of the guys signed out of the Atlantic League to major league organizational contracts have been pitchers. This year, very different. Down low, Hinshaw being patient, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Barnstormers have lost 7 position players.
And yeah, his numbers warrant that phone call.
The Barnstormers have lost a first baseman, 2 second basemen, a shortstop, and 3 outfielders. A little bit high. Hinshaw batting 3-2. You don't want to walk him. Already 1 stolen base tonight for Hinshaw. 3-2 with 1 out. John Griffin due next. Here comes the payoff. Jams him, but Hinshaw able to foul it off. It's still 3-2. I mean, when you look at Schumann's numbers overall, 43 hits and walks combined in 38 1/3 innings. That's pretty impressive, that WHIP.
Yes, it is.
In the 1.1 range. That's strike 3. Henshaw can head on back.
And now better than 4-1 strikeout ratio.
2 outs. The batter will be Griffin, who has 2 singles and a walk. He's been thrown out on the bases twice. Once in a rundown between first and second. The other time Amaral cut him down at home. But he's been a big part of the offense for the New Britain Bees. Drove in run number 2, set up run number 3. Schumann working to Griffin. Big swing. 1 strike. Schumann, the one representative from the Barnstormers pitching staff in the Atlantic League All-Star game, and he was one of only 4 pitchers out of the 18 used in that game to throw a 1-2-3 inning.
That's something to be proud of. Yeah, everybody was hitting in that game. And I guess I saw it's going to be in Long Island next year.
The Ducks will host it. I'm sure they will do a tremendous job. 1 ball, 1 strike. Schumann to Griffin. Look out, and that's going to break up the streak. It's the first run Scott Schumann has given up at home this season. And it's also the first home run he's allowed all year. Griffin going the other way. You have to keep him from doing that. And now it's 4-2. Griffin owns the opposite field, and he's got terrific power the other way. And Schumann delivered him the wrong pitch right there. It's 4-2.
Oh, outer half of the plate. He got those arms out there and launched it.
But imagine that. It's the 1st of August. You've been with the ball club all year long, and it's the first run you've given up at home.
Jeez. Well, unfortunately, all good things come to an end.
18 1/3 innings in his 18th appearance. Now he'll go to work on Michael Krause, down and in for a ball. And now the Barnstormers have to make up 2. And that could be a tall order. If you get to Gilblair in the 9th inning, the Barnstormers historically have had trouble with the closer for the New Britain Bees. Fouled at the plate, and Tyler Clark will have to shake that one off. Carlos Dano walks the ball to the mound. This was the protocol. Will he break out the broom and dust off the plate now? Oh, he gets more baseballs from the bat boy. Does the broom come out?
You got it.
Oh, just with a foot.
Oh. A little swipe across home plate.
1-1 on Krause, 2 outs, nobody on, but the home run by Jonathan Griffin has made it a 4-2 lead.
Will we see Coleman come out in the 8th inning?
They've had Brandon League warming up, so I think he's going to get in there. Ball 2 is low. Clevenger, Weber, and Millage are scheduled. You do have Josh Bell available off the bench, I suppose, but he was scratched from the lineup. And other than that, you've got De La Rosa. Up and away. Krause bats 3-1. Baca's on deck. Am I guilty? I didn't say what the streak was.
No.
But I did mention it. Ball 4 is low. So Krause is on. Baca will come to the plate. He singled in the go-ahead run after a lengthy battle against R.J. Hively 2 innings ago. Might look for Krause to go here. 26 steals on the year. I think he'll test the waters, try to get the scoring position. Schumann will work to the plate. It's outside to Baca. Ball 1-0. Well, that's 5 out of 6 out of the zone since the home run. And Griffin didn't just drop that onto the deck either. Krause goes. The pitch is low. The throw by Clark ends up in center field. Krause is going to head toward third. Amaral with a throw that's offline. Stolen base in E2, and New Britain moves a runner into third base. 2 balls and no strikes meanwhile on Baca. You knew Krause was going to run.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time.
We're going to have a mound visit.
Yep, same scenario as what we saw in the 6th inning. 2 outs, guy at third base, and Baca. Yeah, now you gotta get him out. Keep it a 2-run deficit.
You don't really have a left-hander to counter Skelton. John Anderson not warming up right now. Anderson went an inning and a third last night. I suppose you could go to him for a batter, but he's not getting ready. As you take a gander down toward Anderson De La Rosa, the birthday boy, and his mates surrounding him here.
And how does he spend his birthday? Nursing a big old bruise on his shoulder.
I saw it today from where he was hit from the foul ball last night. There's a red abrasion on the surface, and underneath there is a baseball and then some size bruise that's deep. You can tell it's deep. 3-0 now on Baca. You have to sort of see the discoloration there, and the size of it is quite big. Baca taking all the way, looks at a strike to get the 3-1. This inning was going swimmingly until that home run. Baca with a foul ball away. Full count pitch coming. 2 outs from Schumann, a ground out and a called third strike. And he just gave Griffin, who was suddenly hot against the Barnstormers this year, after starting 2 for 28. Second home run Griffin has now hit in this season series. Payoff pitch is due to Baca. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Krause up the line from third. He got him, put him away with a fastball. Well, that'll end it, but the Barnstormers find themselves 2 runs down. There was 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left in the inning. Bottom of the 8th coming up, 4-2 New Britain. Scott Schumann giving up the home run to Griffin. First long ball he's allowed all year. But Scott has had one heck of a season. Brandon League will take over now as you get a look at Schumann back in the dugout. He's been a great part of this ball club. Brandon League, a longtime major leaguer, faced Clevenger, Weber, and Millage. Bottom of the 8th inning. League's 0-1, his ERA 5.67. They had him and Joe Beimel earlier this year. Two very recognizable names from the past decade or so of Major League Baseball.
Well, we saw Lancaster string a couple of base hits together last night, turn into a big inning.
Need to do it late tonight.
Yeah.
1-0. Clevenger gets ball 2. They've only retired Steve once in this series. He is 6 for 7.
And this team is quite capable, and they have proven it with some late game heroics.
Here's a 2-0. Clevenger looking at it for a called strike. 2-1. League was born in Sacramento but grew up in Honolulu. In the major leagues from 04 through 14. Closer at one point for Seattle. Hopper towards second. League wins this battle. Kajimoto with the short toss.
Ooh.
Oh, he almost pulled Griffin off. 1 out. Garrett Weber will step in. Weber's 0 for 3. Brandon League saved 37 for the Seattle Mariners in 2011. He's one of 2 former Seattle closers in the league. Long Island has David Aardsma. He has also saved a lot of games for the Dodgers, 14 in 2013. No need anymore. They've got that guy Kenley Jansen over there, part of that spectacular ball club. Kenley Jansen, very good friends, by the way, with Trayvon Robinson and Josh Bell. They played together coming up through the Dodgers organization. Jansen, of course, a converted catcher.
Another guy.
Whoa, look out, Lastings. Got to keep your eye on the baseball even when you're in the on-deck circle.
Well, I was reading, a lot of people are questioning the Dodgers deal for Yu Darvish. That they think that his last couple of outings kind of surmise his whole season, which is not the case.
0-2, missing inside. Ball 1 to Weber. Barnstormers running out of outs tonight. They have just 5 left, trailing by 2.
That Dodgers squad, my goodness.
They're so stacked. And then you get Cody Bellinger in the mix. There's a wild swing and a miss for Weber, 2 outs. Millage will step in to try and generate something.
Yes, they're without Kershaw for, 4 to 6 weeks?
They're on pace for over 110 wins.
Yeah, I thought I saw it pegged for 114. Obviously, that could change without Kershaw because
you have that automatic win just about every 5 days.
Yeah.
Well, Anderson is warming up in the Barnstormers bullpen, by the way. Inside to Millage for ball, 1-0. Nate Coronado waits on deck. Or is that it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Shaved his beard. Again. Facial hair of the day for Mr. Anderson.
That's who it was for trying to reach out to kick that foul ball. I was trying to figure out who it was.
Strike on Millage. It's 1-1.
Yeah, somehow we've got to get a couple of guys on base and get that top of the order going.
League is 34 years of age. At the major league level, he appeared in 498 games with a high of 74 total between Seattle and the Dodgers in 12. 2-1 to Lastings, beaten foul. That boy made a pretty good play on that. New Britain up 4-2. Any heroics for the Barnstormers tonight? At Game 3 of this series coming up tomorrow, Joe Gardner will be getting the start against Nick Greenwood. Greenwood, another lefty. To Millage, bouncing on through Skelton, and a full count, 3-2. It's 4-2 in the 8th inning. We're at the 3-hour mark.
On par for Barnstormer baseball.
Here's the payoff. Millage just able to stay alive. Foul ball at the plate, 3-2.
Well, nowhere near the walks that we saw a night ago, but still a lot of deep counts, foul balls. The Lancasters left a base runner on every inning except the 6th when they were retired in order.
Millage trying to reach here with 2 outs. 3-2 from League. The payoff pitch got him swinging. Brandon League comes on and strikes out 2. Well, the Barnstormers have 1 inning left to put together a rally tonight. We'll go to the 9th. New Britain is up 4-2. Here's John Anderson tonight for the 9th inning. Skelton, Kajimoto, and Rosa scheduled to face him. He'll try to be the first pitcher tonight to retire James Skelton, who is 2 for 2. He has walked and been hit by a pitch, and he has led off every odd inning. Every 2 innings tonight, New Britain has sent exactly 9 men to the plate. Anderson has had a solid year for the Barnstormers, except for the base on balls.
Yeah, those are the things that really come back to haunt you.
He's given up 29 and 36 in the 3rd innings. Opposing teams are batting only 177 off the lefty. And here is Skelton. Bunted his way on back in the 7th inning against Moskos. Anderson ready to go. Fastball is up to Skelton. Ball 1 and no strikes. The Barnstormers came into play tonight with the best overall record in the Atlantic League for the season. First time they've been there all year. And with everything this ball club has gone through, and a first-year manager, 11 players getting signed, that is some accomplishment.
Yeah, that is
foul
impressive.
Ball back, it's 1-1. And I'm going to say it right, no matter what happens down the road, and believe me, I want a third ring on our fingers around here about as much as I want anything right now, but these guys have proven themselves to be champions. With everything they have endured, the injury, the short rosters at times, and they've been able to come up with some big wins in bad circumstances. 1-1. Inside to Skelton, 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, and I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it, but that stretch before the All-Star break when they had a depleted roster and these guys just stepped up and produced says a lot about the character of this ball club.
Anderson is upstairs, 3 balls and a strike. And again, because of the structure of the Atlantic League with the split season and the divisional setup, it's possible this team could in some way, shape, or form get boxed out and still have one of the 2 or 3 best records in the league.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss, 3-2. Just ask Butch. It happened to him in 2008 at Southern Maryland his first year. The Blue Crabs didn't make the playoffs. They were tied for the best record. It can lead to some very weird scenarios. I've stated since day one, I'm not a fan of the setup. I know it creates that extra race in the middle and a chance supposedly to reload, but you can reload anytime. There's strike 3. Anderson burns Skelton. We have 1 out here in the 9th inning. It'll bring on Kajimoto, who is officially 1 out of 3. And part of the reason for it, even though I did benefit from it one year, my one season in Lynchburg, we won the second half after a dismal first half and nearly won the league championship. But the first year I was in that league, the Winston-Salem Ball Club affiliated with the Cubs, it was actually Rich Amaral's team, as I remember correctly, had the worst record in the league and won the title. Ground ball foul up the first base line. It is 0-1. I'd have to dig back through and find out the details, but that's what I recall, beating a 100-win Lynchburg team in the finals.
Wow.
Lynchburg was the Mets back then, my friend.
Yeah,
well, that was a little after Doc Gooden and Darryl Strawberry came through. Not that far afterwards.
So the Cubs did win.
In A ball.
Well, and did you see Bartman was given a World Series ring?
Oh, that makes me kind of happy. I didn't see it. The curse is off. Away for ball 1 on Kajimoto. Stephen Bartman and Jeffrey Mayer.
Yeah.
Down he goes. 2 strikeouts for Anderson. Boy, he is tough to hit. Here is Jovan Rosa. He's 0 for 4 tonight.
Yeah, if he can stay away from the base on balls, this guy really is effective.
I think it's always going to be part of Anderson's game. You can be, as we were talking about with Nappo earlier tonight, there are stretches where you can be effectively wild.
Just got to pick the right time.
Breaking ball gets there. It's 0-1. Well, Barnstormers have Coronado, Clark, and Amaral scheduled against Sean Gilblair. He's warming up in the bullpen. The pitching coach and closer for New Britain. 1-1 on Rosa. Power fastball cut on and missed. Make it 1-2.
He just reared back and let it fly. Coronado, Clark, and Amaral in the 9th for Lancaster.
Fastball is outside. Now 2-2. Winston-Salem I correct myself. It wasn't as bad as I thought. They were 58-81 and won the league title in the Carolina League in 1985. Foul ball back.
So they have the same, had the same format?
They had the same format.
Okay. Do they still keep it that way?
It's changed this year because for the first time in ages, the Carolina League doesn't have 8 teams. They have 10. 2 franchises moved from the California League to the Carolina League. So they may have the same setup, but the schedule's imbalanced, and it makes the divisions a lot more sensible.
Yeah.
High fly ball by Rosa out the left. Lastings Millage draws a bead on this one. And John Anderson posts a 1-2-3 inning in the top half of the ninth. Very well done. Coronado, Clark, Amaral scheduled against Sean Gilblair will go to the bottom of the ninth. The Barnstormers need 2 to tie. Here's Sean Gilblair, who is the pitching coach for Stan Clyburn and the New Britain Bees. He joined the team late this year because he's also a coach at college in New Jersey. And this guy, 2-2 with 8 saves and a 2.95 ERA. Barnstormers have had trouble with him over the past couple of years. Nate Coronado will try to get something underway against Gilblair. Gilblair is 6'1", 210, lives in Windham, Connecticut. He is 30 years of age. He's never been in a major league organization. Sometimes you get into the Atlantic League, and that means nothing. Inside to Coronado, 1-0. Barnstormers hoping to hang a blown save on him here tonight. Barnstormers have only scored in the 5th inning of this one. Here's a 1-0. Coronado pops it up foul. Out of play to the right. It's one when we were talking about the 1985 Winston-Salem Spirit winning the Carolina League with a record of 58-81. I also gave Lynchburg a little too much credit. They were 95-45.
Oh, wow.
And Winston-Salem beat them in the finals. The big star, the most recognizable name on that Winston-Salem ball club was a guy by the name of Jamie Moyer, who was 8-2 with a 2.3 ERA and 12 starts. He had 6 complete games out of 12 starts. When was the last time you saw that?
Not bad for 35. When he pitched till he was almost 50.
Yeah. Coronado up there 2-1. Gilblair to the plate. Ground ball. Base hit left field. Nate the Great has it started. Tyler Clark will come to the plate as the possible tying run.
That's exactly what you needed. Get your leadoff guy on base. Now you make Gilblair work from the stretch. And sometimes that messes with a pitcher.
It's the 5th inning tonight. The Barnstormers have gotten the leadoff man on. They haven't scored in any of the first 4.
Yeah, because coming into the 9th inning, New Britain bullpen has thrown 3 innings and only given up 1 hit.
Foul ball back by Clark. It is 0-1. The home run by Griffin in the 8th inning means the world right now to the New Britain Bees. Because otherwise you'd have Clark bunting Coronado to second, and you could take 2 shots at tying up the game with a single. Now you need a whole lot more than that. To Clark, 0-1 pitch is low. A ball and a strike. There really weren't any major names to come about on that Lynchburg Mets ball club, by the way, in '85. Their big star was Sean Abner, who was from over in Mechanicsburg, but he didn't materialize to have the major league career that they thought he was going to as the #1 pick in the draft.
No, in fact, they shipped him off to San Diego and had some time up in San Diego, but yeah, guy that just never really panned out.
The following year, I worked with his older brother, Ben, in the Pirates organization. Tyler Clark batting 1-2. He swings and misses. Clark is gone on strikes. And now you have the left-handed batting Amaral to step in. Barnstormers tonight just haven't been able to back up that leadoff base runner with much of anything. Amaral 2 for 4 without hitting the ball hard tonight, steps in.
Yeah, 5 times tonight they've had the leadoff batter on base. And what was the stat you shared with the leadoff guy gets on, he scores?
It's leadoff walk, I guess.
Leadoff walk.
I always heard 62%. Bounder foul behind the plate. Trayvon Robinson's on deck. Barnstormers looking for some kind of last-ditch rally. 8 hits total for Lancaster here tonight, but they have been very far spread out. They got 3 in the 5th inning to score the 2 runs. Left the bases loaded in the 2nd. 1 strike to Bo Amaral, trying to get on base and set it up for Trayvon Robinson. Breaking ball, twists low. Amaral up there at a ball and a strike. And his dad, part of that 1985 Winston-Salem Spirits Ball Club, along with Dave Martinez, Jamie Moyer. Check swing on the 1-1, and the third base umpire, John Harrington, says he went. 1-2. Changes the complexion of the at-bat a little bit.
Now, my question is, how can you tell from that angle? You're looking straight on.
Right. With a 3-man umpire set up and a runner at first, that's where that third base umpire is going to be positioned. One and two. Amaral goes down swinging. There's a throw to second base. Coronado didn't realize he didn't have to go, and it's a double play. That's a strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the game. He does not have to go on that. But he did, and he gets thrown out pretty easily by James Skelton. 1 hit tonight in the 9th inning. This series is now even at a game apiece. The Lancaster Barnstormers tripped up here by a final score of 4-2. Rubber game of the series coming up tomorrow night. We'll have it for you back here on Blue Ridge Cable 11. Join us at 6:30. Now for Eric May, I'm Dave Collins. Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you at the ballpark.